I recognized something called vacant esteem. Vacant. I look at that because I remember being in the villages with the dirt floor and the tattered clothes, and I remember them saying, I see you. And then I started to look at what happened when I got back to America. Because when I got back to America, African Americans were saying, what you looking at? What you looking at? I see you. What you looking at? Isn't that an interesting difference? What had happened to this little 10-year-old boy that he could not withstand a gaze? What had happened in those fragile little group of years between birth and 10 that he would have so much rage about a glance? And then I began to realize what that little boy was so angry about. He wasn't angry at white people, you see. He was angry with my son. But why was he so angry with my son who looked at him? Because there's something we all know in this room. It's something that black people can do. We know our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers and our mothers and our fathers. We all somehow, another one of those things we normalize, which is supernatural in some ways. We can read people, can we not? We can read you. Not only can we read you, we can walk into a situation and go, whoa, it's feeling thick in here. We can walk into, my sister and I can walk into a supermarket and watch a situation and go, now you checked her out, right? Yeah, you know, she came in, you see that man, you see that woman he with, you know that's his wife over there, right? Okay. You know, it's getting ready to get real up in here. Meanwhile, there's a white woman standing behind me going, did you see someone come in? There's a reason for that. I'll tell you the reason for that, because privilege allows her or him to not have to concern themselves with what's going on. That's not so with you and I. So I'm looking at this notion of what you're looking at. And I know, you know, we represent a lot of different understandings, but I remember reading in some religious scripture something so poignant about black people. And in this statement it says, the black man is like the pupil of the eye, surrounded by a sea of white, but it is the pupil which contains the sight. It beholds what is before it. So what that little boy could see reflected back at him is what he hated about himself. Because you see, we arrive at our sense of esteem based on the significant appraisals of those closest to us. Because I am not who I think I am. And I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think that I am. So that little boy thought that my son thought of him as nothing. And he hated him for it. He hated him so much that he wanted to hurt him. He wanted to hurt him for revealing back to him what he hated most in himself. He didn't look at white people because they can't reflect it back. But we do. That's why I don't like you. That's why I hate you, because you remind me of the nothing I am. That's why. And he's 10 years old. And it doesn't start at 10, it starts at 3. But this is part of what I call post-traumatic slave syndrome. Let's go up a little closer. Let's look at something else.